So when I started to think about what am I going to present, cybercrime in Africa, card fraud. In fact, we do the same types of courses everywhere we go, and we find that whether we do the course in Finland or we do it in Bangkok or we do it in, I don't know, Quito, the problems are all the same. The same threats, the same devices are being used in completely opposite sides of the world. So I'm going to try and give you a little insight into what's going on in Africa, but also take that to the next level and explain what's going on globally. Okay, so I start with a map. Let's see if it works. All those little flags represent incidents we've seen in different countries. I'm not going to explain them all, but I'm going to try and give you an overview of what we're seeing. So let's try and focus a little bit on Africa. Just in East Africa, we're seeing, and I'm going to try and focus on card-related fraud. We're seeing incidents where Bulgarians, for instance, are flying into Kampala. They're bringing proprietary skimming devices. They're installing them in ATMs at shopping malls, copying card data from Ugandan citizens, and using that same data they're copying off the cards in that same shopping mall. They stay 3 days, they buy as much as they can, and they disappear. And we've seen that in Namibia, we've seen that in South Africa, seen that practically all over Africa. Interesting one here, and this one we could show you the same graph in Chile and in the UK and in South Africa. It's exactly the same thing. That red line, they call it counterfeit. And I'm going to try and explain what that means in the credit card business. Counterfeit is so easy to do. Those skimming incidents, when your card gets skimmed, that data, somebody can make one copy of your card and go to the ATM and get arrested. But they're slightly smarter than that. So they'll put a device in that lasts for a couple of weeks, and they'll harvest the information. And then why go to the ATM yourself when you could sell that information? It's important to have some form of joint up coordination between police, government, and the financial sector. A lot of the time, police and government don't quite understand how the financial sector works, and the banks are in control of those funds, as our colleague mentioned. So I didn't want to make it too boring. Thank you. I hope that gave you some kind of insight into what's happening in cards and payments and fraud.